So it seems like I got to Todai-ji temple right at the same time as about 100 school groups, which is probably going to be the case in any scenario, but I'm right outside of the temple. I forgot to take a video. I just didn't take a video of the temple on the way and the gate, but I'll capture that on the other side. So I will. I'll be sure to get some of the main gate after the fact. But here is the secondary gate, the walls of the temple, where they have where you pay your entrance fee so you can go in and see the Buddha. Okay, so here's the outer gate. All right, and I'm just going to walk back to the main causeway, and you can see off in the distance you can see the entry arch, which has two giant wooden guardians. It looks like I don't know if they're Yomi or some kind of demon, but they're crazy looking. So I'm going to go into Todai-ji temple now, and it's going to be very crowded, unfortunately, but I'm going to see the world's biggest Buddha. So behind me is Todai-ji temple. I just actually got a quick English guided tour, which she just basically went through a quick history of the temple in English for visitors, which was very nice that they offer that. So, of course, the temple and the Buddha are originally built 752. This current building was built in 1709, and this building, even though it's currently the largest ancient wooden building in the world, it is smaller than the original Todai-ji, which was much older. So they tried to recreate it, but they couldn't get enough material, so they had to make it smaller. And it was destroyed in during the Sengoku period. The only thing that's left surviving is the lantern. Yeah, so there's a bunch of workers setting up for a concert right now, but that lantern that's sitting there is, apart from the Buddha itself, like that is original. That's a 1,200-year-old bronze lantern, and of course the metal is oxidized over the years, but we can't get close to it at this time because they're setting up for that concert. Yeah, so the bell, 1,200 years old, and has beautiful carvings that we can't see because we can't actually get close to it at this time, which means, probably one of the best pictures I could have taken was the view of the bell with the temple in the background, but I'm not going to get that, so it's unfortunate that all this scaffolding is here. It's nice that the concert hopefully will highlight the importance of the structure, but it's too bad. I'm going to get my first view of the Buddha as we walk in here. Okay, so the largest bronze Buddha ever cast from 752. Oh my God. Like, I've seen photos and video of this thing, but the scale of it, is immense. So another thing that the guide told me on the way in is that his curls, for your sense of scale, his curls, each individual curl is the size of a human head. front of Buddhist temples, they typically have these candles, and the candles are meant as a symbol of respect and admiration, and standing here in the shadow of this magnificent statue, I will of course pay respect. So there's my candle. Actually these hooks go through very nicely. I think there's holes on the bottom of the candle. Okay, so there's my candle as I'm paying respect to the Buddha. The humble candle flame represents the Buddha's enlightenment, and so they kind of, it's enlightenment comes from humble origins, and fire comes from humble origins. It's a beautiful. It has links to most religions of the fire is an important and symbolic thing. So these plates. So the Buddha himself, he's sitting on a bed of lotus leaves. Lotus leaves being a sign of purity. So this is a recreation of the petals at the base of the statue. So it kind of gives you a sense of how big it is. Like you know from this vantage point, you can barely see the petals on the statue itself. So it's just an overwhelming. It's an overwhelming feeling to be here. And let me fix that. There we go. It's an overwhelming to be here in the presence of this Buddha. You can barely see from this vantage point the lotus flowers on the base of the Buddha, but these give you a pretty good sense of scale of how massive it is. It's very hard to describe. Again, I said this a couple times. That the guide explained to me that each one of those curls is the size of a human head, and like the Buddha vistas are, bigger than normal humans. It really is like. Profoundly impactful. So I'm gonna go over here. So I was trying to get a photograph of the Buddha, and I was finding it difficult to get a photograph of the front of the Buddha because the sun is hitting the gold leaf. So to get the Buddha in the background and the gold leaf at the same time was proving extremely difficult. So I'm trying to get I'm going to try to do an HDR shot of the picture I was trying to get of the very front of the Buddha. Yeah, so you can see that the sun hitting the gold leaf is making it shine, which is what it's supposed to do. Absolutely overwhelming. This is this hole is the size of the Buddha's, the Great Buddha's nostril, and if you can fit through it, the belief is that you are a pure being worthy of pursuing enlightenment. All because you can fit through a nostril. It's an interesting religion.